Welcome back to the Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call. I'm Josh Taylor, in tonight for Bob Pompiani, joined in studio by Ron Cook from 93.7 and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Ron, let's take some phone calls, and I believe John in Banksville has a question for you. So, John, fire away. You're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I just want to start by saying that was the most bizarre game I ever saw.
Yes.
And I'm a hockey fan over 40 years, but that was unreal. But I do have a question for Ron. Since you do the Cook and Pony show, I was wondering who Andrew Filipponi picked to win the series, because if he picked Nashville, we're a shoo-in.
Yeah, well, he'll switch it up 6 times between now and when it's over. You know what? I don't even know if he picked it, because he did the morning show yesterday and I did our regular show, and we weren't on together. I believe he picked the Penguins, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, a lot of discussion. I think it was the Ottawa series. I think did he pick Ottawa in 7?
No, he picked them back and forth. You know, after 2 games he picks one, another 2 games picks another.
He's adjusting the line on you.
We call him the flipper.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go to, I believe it's Brad in Punxsutawney. Brad, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. A couple comments and then a quick question. One, I'd never seen a game like last night. Experienced a team going 37 minutes without a shot on goal. Very unique to watch. Hopefully you'll never have to see that again.
Hopefully.
I did like the Penguins' resiliency at the end, though, to find a way to get out of there with a win. My question was Hagelin a healthy scratch last night?
Yes, he was.
He was.
So he was a healthy scratch?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and then I'm sure they haven't made any announcements yet on lineup tomorrow night for a little bit more speed, or I'm sure, I guess we'd have to wait till tomorrow for that. But hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
I would doubt that he will be back. I think they're going to stick with the winning. I don't know. Mike Sullivan, you know, he could play anybody. I'll tell you who I thought had a real bad game and I think has been playing really poorly as of late is Phil Kessel. He didn't get a shot on goal last night and didn't play. I wrote about him in the PG tomorrow. In the last 7.5 minutes of that game last night, he had 1 50-second shift.
Wow.
1 50-second. All really in the second and third periods, except on the power play in the third period. I can't imagine the team's happy with him. He's just not shooting, and he's not scoring. And if he doesn't shoot and score, he doesn't help you much.
Another guy who had a rough game was Scott Wilson. Had a pretty tough go of it as well.
Except he had like 7 or 8 hits, though.
Yeah, he was very physical.
He plays a physical game.
You could make the case from the second period onto the third period. Not many people had that pretty positive of a game, but
yeah, nobody had shots at that point, right?
It was not really.
But if a guy like Crosby doesn't get shots, he can still help you win by what he does elsewhere, winning face-offs, you know, back-checking, forechecking. Kessel doesn't do that, and it's a problem.
I'm curious to see what happens with the defense going into Game 2. There were a lot of problems getting out of the zone, trying to get entry into Nashville's zone, just trying to get out of their own zone clean and not carrying the puck, trying to pass it out. Ron Hainsey forced a couple bad passes. So I'm curious to see if the defense changes their approach to try to get cleaner breakouts going into Game 2. Let's go to Ken in Clearfield. Ken, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, hi, guys. Hey, hi, Ron. I love your show. I think the Penguins, I don't know, they just struggled through that second period and third period. I mean, you don't get a shot on goal in 37 minutes. That's ridiculous. With the offense that they have and the talent that they have, I think they're going to be okay. I think they had one bad game. I think they sleepwalked through the first game, and they'll be okay. Thank you.
Well, it's a beautiful thing when you have a bad game and you still win. Again, there's no style points in this, and you know, the bottom line is getting a win. And I think Mike Milbury said it well on NBC last night that Nashville deserved it. This was their game, but the Penguins know how to win, and they find a way. And I think that's absolutely true.
Here's a good thing to feel better about going into Game 2, and I mentioned this going into Game 7 against Washington and Game 7 against Ottawa. This team very seldom has bad nights 2 games in a row. Usually if they have a bad night, they bounce back from it pretty big, and I expect to see the same thing tomorrow. Of course, I'm saying bounce-back game when they won the first one, and the first one was considered the bad one. So if you're expecting bounce-backs, maybe Game 2 is a much better result. We will go to Bob in Indiana before we take a break. Bob, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Josh.
Thanks for calling in.
Hey, question on the Harper incident.
Okay.
I see the league handed down the ruling. They suspended Harper 4 games, and the pitcher, his name won't come to me, but they suspended him 6 games.
Hunter Strickland.
Oh, yeah. How is that fair whenever Harper's an everyday player and the other guy, he pitches every 5 days or 6 days? Shouldn't it be, a 6-game suspension on his starts, not just games?
Well, you're not going to suspend a guy for a month or, a month and a half. I had more of a problem with what the pitcher did than what Harper did. If this is something from 2 years ago when Harper hit a couple home runs off of this guy, now he hits him 2 or 3 years later, I have a real problem with that. I get it that Harper has to be suspended as well, and I'm sure Washington doesn't see a guy who probably next year is going to sign like a $400 million contract out there, using his hands to throw punches. But he did what he felt he had to do. He'll take his punishment, I'm sure. I have more of a problem with the pitcher throwing at him. And clearly when you hit a guy where he hit him, he was trying to.
And also, from Hunter Strickland's perspective, he only got 6 games, and of course that changes as far as your start schedule because you start every 5 days, but that's still 6 game checks that Hunter Strickland loses. So it may not seem as well as far as games played, but it still hits him in the wallet. So that does make a bit of a difference. In the meantime, we'll take a break. We come back, we'll take more phone calls. My computer is down, so I can't take tweets, but we are taking phone calls here on the Nightly Sports Call. Stay with us.